Welcome to Thursday, the first day of December 2022. Your day with a podcast brought to you by Cowboy State Daily. Check them out at cowboystatedaily.com or on their Facebook page. Also brought to you by WYDOT. Remember, when there's ice and snow, take it slow. Call 511 for the latest road conditions. As we take a look at what's ahead, well, it stays busy. We have a brief warm-up today, but mountain snow's coming. We have a push of milder Pacific air coming in today, a little bit of a Chinook east of the divide. But as we've been mentioning, we have this very compact, intense little area of low pressure coming off the west coast that's going to bring increasing snow to the western areas later today and especially tonight. And this front is going to race. Just race over the Continental Divide late tonight into Friday, bringing mountain snow, or a nice shot of snow for the ski slopes. If you're going to go skiing this weekend, you'll have some fresh snow. We will have some snow showers east of the divide, especially in Montana and Wyoming, along with wind. Colder temperatures will be right behind the front, so after today's warm-up, temperatures go right back down again. Now, the weekend will be cool, fairly quiet, but another cold push with some snow for some areas will come in late Sunday and into the day on Monday. Now, beyond that, we see the pattern sort of readjusting next week. And we mentioned yesterday how you got to really be careful with long-range forecasts. Certainly this is the case, as a lot of different scenarios are on the table, as we're seeing here in the northern hemisphere, these cold areas kind of moving around a little bit, and that's what's going to happen next week. So we could have a lot of variability in the weather and the weather forecast mid to late next week, so stay tuned. Nice shot there out of the Wheatland, Wyoming area after the most recent snowfall. Snowfall coverage was pretty good with that event. You can see the latest snow and ice map for North America. You can see the widespread area of snow that was associated with that system right there, and really starting to pile up, and boy, widespread snow cover over all of Canada now. And if you wondered about November, this is how the month of November ended up in terms of temperatures relative to averages. So you can see that the entire central and western United States, including Mexico, including Western Canada, all had a colder than average November. Look at California. That's one of the colder Novembers in a while for California there. And look how cold it was in Montana. So if you thought November was a little on the cool side, you're right. Now that was after a very mild October. So the pendulum always swings back and forth with Mother Nature. Today's satellite photo shows the next system coming on in. You can see the enhanced cloudiness right here. A low just off the coast of Seattle, a pocket of cold air right there. And this is the system that's going to head this way very, very quickly. You're going to see this low just off the coast of Seattle today be here by this time tomorrow. That's a lot of real estate very, very quickly. But out ahead of it, we're going to have that warmer air come in from the Pacific and give us a little bit of a warm-up. And then you can see it right there, and that's going to lead to the warm-up. See this area of orange color? This is the warmer air coming in behind it, but look at the cold up there in Canada. So there's a lot of cold air just kind of sitting there, and that's what's going to slip in behind the front, some of that cold air, after it moves through very quickly. So enjoy today's brief warm-up. There it is by Friday morning, and this is the precipitation associated with this wave. California does good, and you can see the snow spreading into the mountains. And also you can see that just along and east of the divide here, there's going to be an area of snowfall across some of the northern areas. So Casper up to Sheridan and Buffalo and KC and Midwest, back over into the Wind River Basin, Bighorn Basins, southwestern Wyoming, and the high elevations of the I-80 corridor. Tonight and into Friday, you're going to get snow. Good snow in Jackson again, another snow event for the Wasatch of Utah and the central mountains of Colorado. And then this dry air here in the downsloping as the system races to the east. And there you can see the snowfall with it. Pretty impressive snow amounts. A couple of feet of snow in the high Sierras with this. And then temperatures behind the front for Saturday. So yeah, we warm up, but the warmer air gets suppressed back down into Arizona and New Mexico. And most of the west and the central United States gets pretty cold behind the front again. Then as we get on into next week, interesting thing happens. We have this pocket of very cold air kind of spinning around. That's what I showed you yesterday when I made that loop. That pocket of very cold air over north central Canada kind of wobbles a little bit to the west. So we actually have cold air that gets coming in from the northeast, kind of in a backdoor fashion. That'll push some colder air in late Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, while we have Pacific moisture with this little wave pushing over that colder air. So that's going to produce some mountain snow again and a little bit of snow on the plains, along with colder temperatures early next week. Here's that big high over Greenland, and look at it pushing all the way up to the pole. And then we have this other high building up into eastern areas of the eastern Pacific. And what's interesting, when you take a look from the hemispheric standpoint, looking down on the North Pole, notice the colors. You see the orange here? This ridge, basically this block connects, and it cuts off and isolates this cold pool, just kind of spinning around Canada. This is what's going to make the weather forecast really, really tricky next week. As that kind of cuts off and meanders, what will happen is this actually retrogrades westward and may hook up, and likely will, with this cold pool here that's right now over Asia. Then when we have these pockets of cold air that have broken off the main jet stream, bringing some colder weather to parts of Europe and other parts of that part of the globe. And this is what happens with that cold push. As that cold push comes in from the northeast, we get some upslope, the Dakotas get some snow, Montana gets some snow, and then there's going to be another slug of mountain snow again, coming from the Sierras through the central Rockies, even down into Arizona and New Mexico, getting a little bit of snow. Very cold air in Montana, more snow cover coming up there with that push of Arctic air from the northeast and the addition of Pacific air from the west. So a lot of moving parts. And there you can see the potential for snow. This is from late Sunday through early Tuesday. Then as we get out further, this is by next Friday. Now, we talked about that area of cold maybe kind of going westward. It's also getting stretched out a little bit. There's that big Greenland block. Here's the block out in the Pacific. So we kind of get an amoeba-like situation here, to where there's this connection between the cold and the west, the block over Greenland. This big pocket of cold air then gets separated over there as well, and that could sit over Europe mid to late next week, continuing their current and ongoing stretch of colder weather coming on in. And then you have another low that's breaking off south of the jet stream here. This could be a player in the weather later on. And then you can see where the cold is. You have these isolated pools of cold air over Europe, very cold air over Canada, parts of the western United States, and look at the extent of the cold over on the other side of the globe, getting into Japan, getting into Siberia. You've got three very large pockets of very cold air. They're just going to meander and wobble around a little bit. So this is going to be making for a very interesting pattern by mid to late next week and the week thereafter. Have yourself a good first day of December. See you tomorrow.